Welcome to the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast. Tonight, Jeff Snyder and Angel Dweh. This episode is sponsored by Members First. And now your hosts, Daniel Kime and Alan McCutcheon.
And welcome to the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel. Coming up, we have Jeff Snyder and Angel Dweh. Sitting here with Jeff Snyder. Jeff, you are a very, let's say, seasoned man from the music industry of Central Pennsylvania. Musician yourself. You've taught. You've done a lot of different things. First of all, thanks for coming on the show. Sure. It's a pleasure having you here. But secondly, man, there's a lot of different stuff we could cover here. I think it's probably best. Let's start at the beginning. Where did you get your start in music?
First, let's go back to I'm seasoned. You understand, for old people, that's not a good thing to say.
Is that not a good thing?
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
I figured that was the nicer thing to say.
It's all good. All right. Well, I was born in Pensacola, Florida. I was a surf rat for a lot of years, and still am.
Okay.
When I can. I'm now the old guy that I used to scream at to get out of my way. My family is very music oriented. They come from deep in the hills of Tennessee.
Okay.
The Cashes are one of the part of the family. Johnny Cash, my great aunt, went to high school with June Carter.
Wow.
Some of my favorite memories are when I was a kid, going up to Tennessee, and they would all jam, and there was banjos and mandolins and guitars and you name it, washboards. I mean, it was the real thing. Sitting on a porch in Tennessee and in Virginia.
Like an Appalachian hoedown.
And it was the real thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they had this one school, old school, that was a church, that they would have these jam sessions at, and people would come from miles around. You could see the cars lined up all the way down this country road, and they all would come and watch my family, the Fridays and the Snyders and the Cashes, all just jam. And they did it for the fun of it. They sold hot dogs, it was one of those kinds of things. My second cousin, Dan Snyder, right now is playing keyboards with the Warren Zeter Band.
Oh, okay.
Touring all over the place. And
another local guy.
So the DNA runs deep as far as the music in my family. And so I went to the University of West Florida. I studied piano with Pierre Hybritz. That was sort of the classical side. He studied with Nadia Boulanger, if you're a classical nerd. I played in every kind of band you can think of, from reggae to country to the Red Velvet Room underneath the Roadway Inn, playing Mac the Knife. Did
Great
the
song.
Travel around the South in the back of a van, pulling a trailer for a whole summer thing. Played in a Christian band. You name it. As I always told my students, there's two types of people in our industry. There are pimps and hoes. And I was a hoe.
Okay.
Pay me $1 and I will come play keyboards for you. That was basically it. And then I went from there to Orlando to work at Ace Music. It was sort of a day gig. It and Thoroughbred and Rhythm City back at the time were the largest music stores in the South. And I ran the recording and keyboard department, and also taught at Full Sail a little bit. Oh. And then from there I moved to Norfolk, Virginia, where I worked for Audio Light and Music, which was the largest music store in the Central Atlantic area. And still played in bands and did sessions. And from there, I heard about this gig up here in Pennsylvania, and sort of almost as a lark, applied for this teaching gig at the college, and mostly because my wife at the time, her family still lived here. She was from this area. Okay. And so she really wanted me to apply for the job. And I was thinking, there's no way. I only had a bachelor's in music from the University of West Florida. And to this day, I still think that when the dean called to offer me the job at the college, he accidentally went one line too far down as far as phone numbers go. He kept calling me George the whole conversation. Congratulations, George. We have chosen you to come teach at our college. And I think that when I showed up, instead of the guy that he was expecting, he was too embarrassed to admit his mistake.
Is this true?
No.
Oh.
But, it's a lot of my colleagues there were wondering who let the barbarian inside the gates, coming from this surfing rock and roll type thing. And then, I didn't smoke a pipe and I didn't stroke a beard and I didn't have quite the academic chops that a lot of my more academic brethren had. So that's how I ended up in Pennsylvania in 1997 and at the college.
Wow. That's quite the journey right there.
It's been quite a journey. And I retired about a year and a half ago.
Okay. So when you were at the college, though, you were teaching the music department or music business department, though.
Well, I was a music professor in the music department.
Okay.
And when I first was hired, I was the assistant director of recording because I came in with my expertise was more synthesizers, MIDI. I was at the very forefront of that kind of technology. And then I created the music business program, so I doubled in both programs for a while, and then I just did all music business because it became really successful and big. I became chair of the music department about the semester right before COVID hit. So I had the good fortune of being the chair of a very large department during COVID, which was a nightmare in itself. Having to shepherd 12 full-time faculty and 24 adjuncts and 125 music majors all through this time that everybody didn't know if they were going to live or die, and the evacuation and going online in 3 days. It was very, very stressful.
I think that would probably be an understatement, maybe.
Mm.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. Well, at least at that point, you had some experience under your belt and, you were a good man for the job for it. So
hopefully some would probably disagree. But I was able to make a lot of changes. Like one of the things that I was able to do was put in a really high-end streaming system in the music hall so the parents could see their kids play.
Oh, wow.
Because we couldn't have any guests come to campus, during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So the first semester I actually sat in front of the stage with my iPhone and streamed every recital. And I think there was 40 at night. And then after that, we got the system put into the hall. And even then, I still streamed most all of that. So if you go to the LVC Music Department Facebook page and look at all the videos from back then, you can see they're nowhere near as polished as what you guys do. But the parents really appreciated being able to see their kids perform.
Oh, I'm sure they did. And I thank you for the compliment. I don't think we're all that polished, though. But so you've done a little bit more than just teaching over the years, though. You're also an accomplished musician. Like you said, you were a hoe at one point, played in a lot of different bands. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's probably a little bit more we could uncover from that there. Tell us about some of your experiences in playing in a band over the years.
I was always this second tier wannabe rock star. I played with one band called the Janitors. It was sort of an R&B band. Bruce Crump from Molly Hatchet was our drummer.
Oh, wow.
And I played with a gentleman named Florida Bill in Pensacola. He was Ike and Tina Turner's sax player. If you watch old videos of them, he was the one who played saxophone. I played with a guy named Red Lane, who was a big country star for a while. So I was always at that level right below, full-on stardom. Mm-hmm. And then I played in all the, the pickup bands, the reggae bands, and whatever I could pick up at the time. It was one of the things I tried to bring to my students was this is a great life, but it's a hard life, and you got to hustle, and you have to smile, and you have to take what you get.
Yeah.
You can, music is in demand, but, nobody's going to come knocking on your door saying, please come make a fortune.
No.
You make a living at it. You still might have to say, would you like fries with that during the day? But if you stay with it long enough, something good will happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy. Actually, a couple years ago on our old show, we had a couple musicians on there. and they talked about, how crazy, how you wouldn't believe the musicians you listen to that you think are like full-time musicians. They've made it. They're out touring, and when they're not, they're hanging out at their mansion. No, they're living in their one-bedroom apartment working a full-time job in between tours.
That's right.
Yeah, a lot of people do not realize that.
Yeah, a lot of the one of my clients when I was in Norfolk was like Bruce Hornsby and Carter Buford of Dave Matthews Band and stuff. Wow. And these were all overnight successes, but these guys were playing in these back swamp bars for years before they became an overnight success. Everybody thinks it's like it's going to happen real quick, but no, you got to be seasoned.
Yeah. It's going to be the word of the night. And you even mentioned you got to hustle too. We learned that from Brett Michaels whenever we interviewed him. He talked about getting on the bandmates getting on each other's shoulders and put their posters up higher so no one could cover them.
That's right.
Getting creative with it, but it's a grind, man. It's a hustle. You got to get out there. You got to want it more than everyone else, and everyone else wants it too. So.
Yeah. Some of my students were the guys in Small Town Titans, and one of the classes they took, they had to create business plans. And so Philip's business plan was basically Small Town Titans. He called it Lone Wolf, and he made a very detailed business plan after he graduated. He was thinking solo act, but he had to think through everything: how much money gas would cost, what was the cost of a van, insurance, how was he going to live, how was going to, it was to the atomic level. And if you're not prepared, that's why so many people crash and burn, because they think it's all going to come to them, but you gotta have your chops behind you. So, and John made one, and both Phil and John were presidents of VALE at one time or another, and each one of them also hosted and put on, an all-day music business conference at the college, each one of them.
Wow.
And which was very stressful.
I can only imagine.
Especially the one year we couldn't do it when we normally would, which was after Thanksgiving. It was going to be in October. And we couldn't do it in Thanksgiving because there was going to be a championship football game, and all the facilities were all taken up. And so I think it was John had to come up with a conference. The class began in August, and the conference, we had to do it in October. And we had one of Philip's relatives from Live, I forget what his name was, actually come play. But we rented a fire hall, and that's where we had our lunch and all that kind of stuff. So it was learn by stress, learn by improvising, it's like, what I've always said is in our industry, it's not like you can go to a book and open it up to page 44 and this is what you're going to do. There's nothing in concrete. It's all in mud. And, it changes constantly, and you've got to be able to adapt daily.
Yeah. I mean, what worked for someone doesn't work for someone else, And even what you were saying, even making your business plan, do you have your van breaking down as a part of your business plan too? That's
right.
Yeah. I really like the way you put that. So speaking of business plans, though, you have another endeavor you're on right now. Is that correct? With a YouTube channel and content creation?
Oh, yeah. Well, since I retired, when I first retired, I was offered some jobs real quick. And my first inclination was I'd been busy so hard for so long to take a job. What am I going to do with myself? But John Ewell, who's a friend of mine, had just retired from the Lincoln Center. He did all of the audio and aspects of the jazz at the Lincoln Center, which was really huge. And he had retired, and he told me, don't do anything for a year and adjust to it. And it takes a while. But so I began to think of what are some of the things I want to do. And I realized that, and this is too late. It really is too late for me to have realized this. But content creators are the future. The content creation, I would make a major of this content creation. And a lot of that comes from suddenly watching YouTube like crazy, watching you guys. My last year at the college, the students created VALE After Dark, which was a podcast they put out every week. And it was hilarious listening to college students talk on a podcast. Very non-filtered. The sound could be crappy. None of it's there anymore. But I was very proud of them. For a year, they put out these podcasts. And they kept saying, we want to do video. And I kept saying, it's going to be too hard. And we're going to, you had spent too much time editing and all this kind of stuff. And then now I realized that content creators, Gen Z especially, Gen Zers, are creating like crazy.
Yeah.
So instead of passively watching, they're engaging in the media itself. And I'm just floored, watching all this incredible stuff that's showing up on YouTube that they're doing, mistakes and all, raw, organic, just the real stuff. And I love it.
Mm-hmm. And
so, as a baby boomer, wanting to squeeze back into Gen Zers, I sort of elbowed my way in and created a YouTube channel that I just started. And it's called Snyder's Music Biz, B-I-Z News. And it's a really short, like 13, 15-minute cast. I don't like calling it a podcast. It's like a content creator type thing. And it's just, I pick 5 weird music biz articles. And then I have a 6th one that my cat chooses, which is it's called Jonesy's Cat Shit Crazy Moment. So the episode that dropped yesterday, his moment, my cat's moment, was, I don't know if you've seen them, Wu-Tang has political signs. Have you seen them? The kind you put in your yards? Oh. And it's hilarious, so, and we're in an area where there's a sign on every yard. So the idea of putting Wu-Tang forever, presidents don't last. Wu-Tang forever. Political sign, anybody driving by would just crack up. So that's the kind of stuff I like putting into my channel. And if 3 people watch it, fine. If more people watch it, fine. It's just now I have the time to do that. And it keeps me interested and investing in the music industry to see what's going on. A lot of weird stuff. And we're definitely at the crest of a new wave that's about to hit the music industry. Like one of my next episode next Wednesday is going to focus more on AI. The CEO of the Recording Academy, and you probably know this, but he put out this thing that they were going to accept AI-generated music for Grammys. Yeah, that's the look he got from everybody. And so he had to follow up with another statement saying, okay, let me explain. A human still has to submit the music. And so I'm thinking Schwarzenegger going up to get his Grammy, I'll be back if they don't give it to him, or he will find a human. And so now they're looking at how much of the song was generated by AI and how much of it was generated by humans. And just a couple of days ago, Timbaland, there was an article about he uses AI now for all of his music bed ideas, and he just expands on those. One of the guys I used to know in Virginia Beach, I had lunch with him. He works with Chad Hugo, which was Pharrell's partner in the Neptunes. And they begin with AI. And this is the guy who Elon Musk just asked him to do music to send up in one of his spaceships.
Really?
And they're doing some Marvel movie right now. And but he said, he just uses AI for the beds, and then they just build on top of it. And, how far is this going to go? It's amazing. Will there one day be an all AI generated vocals and everything song that get to Grammy?
That's just crazy. And it's quite the rabbit hole, too. I mean, we could sit here and talk about that for hours, but I mean, I'm sure there's also going to be, a concern. I know I've seen on the internet people already talking about with like AI generated art where it's like, well, it's not really generating art. It's just stealing other people's art and compiling it into this. And that's, I guarantee, exactly what's going on with the music. So when does there become like a movement towards like, hey, this is just stolen rights, But
well, for 2 things. One is we had the same conversation when MIDI came out in sampling. You're going to put real musicians out of business because you got the sample of a drummer instead of a drummer. which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I'm kidding. All right. I like drummers. Some of my best friends are drummers. But the idea that you could put down a drum groove and then Ableton Live will add a bass and then add keyboard parts. I mean, that's artificial intelligence already that we've been using. And also, I think that the whole copyright thing, I attended a summer-long Creative Commons licensing class. And the idea is that you're not going to make any money on copyrights anymore, unless you're Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
You're not going to make any money on streaming, so let everybody use your stuff as long as you get the credit for it, and then you can use that credit to sell other stuff, merch or whatever. So you're right. AI is pulling thousands of bits from the internet that is owned by other people. It is copyright infringement to the atomic level, though, and how do you track that?
Exactly. And at what point do you just cut off technology because of its capability? You can't just say, well, this is just too good for us to comprehend, so you can't use it.
Well, since AI is going to be control our missile systems and stuff like that, we don't want to piss it off.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're not going to cut AI. I didn't say this, AI.
Yeah, please let me live.
Yeah.
I mean, that is its whole own thing, though, right there. AI. It is the future.
Yeah.
We know it. We don't know which way it goes. Hopefully, it doesn't actually kill us, like we just said. But it's.
Yeah, I had my first AI generated essay turned in right before I left, and I even confronted the student. It was obvious the change in writing style was quite dramatic. But you can't prove plagiarism. You can't go back and find where it came from. You can't prove they didn't do it. Mm-hmm. And then the students and the other students in the class came to me after the semester and said, "You do know that he was using AI to write the papers?" I said, "I know, but how can I prove it?
Yeah.
I can't." So it's a whole new world.
It is. It's a scary whole new world.
And instead of saying, "Would you like to play a game?" I actually saw a plug-in. Would you like to be a songwriter? And it's an AI-generated music plug-in for whichever program I own it is. But you can buy it as a plug-in, and it will create the music for you. So it is, would you like to make a song? We're getting to that point. But that could be freeing, too. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't for drum machines, we wouldn't have rap.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it could just be another tool in the toolbox.
If it's a tool in a toolbox, yes,
yeah.
Musicians will rise to the top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with using something that's going to either enhance or benefit you or help you grow. But if it's going to do all the work for you, that's mm-hmm. where the fine line is, of course.
Yeah, if you're being lazy about it.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, good musicians will rise to the top. They will use it as a tool. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, even now, the commercial music industry, music for commercials, they're using AI to generate the music for the backgrounds because, it's supposed to be sort of bland.
Mm-hmm. And it's free.
And it's free, and they own it. They don't have to license it.
Yep, exactly. So, oh, man, crazy world we live in these days. Well, we could probably talk about AI for hours. Is there anything else that you wanted to maybe mention before we wrap up here that I didn't cover?
Besides my being seasoned, I almost feel like you're about to say, we're featuring Professor Snyder, Emeriti, the oldest person we've ever had on our season.
I don't think you're the oldest. I'm joking. I'm joking.
One thing I don't know if it's ever been brought out, but one of the reasons I love this organization is, I don't know if you remember, but during COVID, all the venues shut down. There was nowhere to play. And Brandon opened up and did virtual concerts for all the musicians. He gave them an outlet to continue to perform and a tip jar. So they were actually able to perform from their living rooms through this channel that he created, these videos. And I think he told me they raised he paid out like $50,000 through the tip jars and didn't keep any of it.
Wow.
So that shows to me the heart of this organization, and it's why I'm very, very proud to be associated with it in any degree that I can
we
be.
didn't even mention that you are on the advisory committee, the education.
I'm on the education committee, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's great to be a part of this committee, man. It really is. Like what you said, it's good to be in a system that's going to help give back to a community that we love and care about so much.
That's right.
So, well, Jeff, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for being seasoned. It really gave us a lot to talk about.
And you end with the same thing. Ouch.
Oh man, I'm
My
sorry.
pleasure. My pleasure. It's all good.
Well, we'll talk to you soon. All right. All right. Thank you. Great conversation with Jeff. Everyone, stay tuned. Up next, we have Angel Dweh. Sitting here with Angel Dweh. Angel, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, Angel is a local musician here in Central Pennsylvania. And just like everything else, I always love to start at the beginning, man. So let's talk about where you started out, how you got your start in music.
It's a long story short. I got my start in music through my mom.
Okay.
When me and my siblings were younger, like little in the house, she used to sing to us. She would sing gospel songs. She used to have a lot of gospel records. And then as we were growing up more, I used to sneak myself on the computer and watch Chris Brown and Usher, even though I wasn't allowed to.
Okay.
And that allowed me to dive more into dancing as well, because the more I was watching Chris Brown and Usher and Neil, knowing the fact I wasn't allowed to, but I was diving more into building the spirit as a dancer. So with my mom singing, it kind of like resonated with me and my siblings, because that's what we were raised with. Mm-hmm. So being Liberia, music it's used as a tool to communicate with the people, with the towns and all of that. So that's how they use music to share message.
Okay.
So being raised in that culture and then moving here, I was able to adapt the American culture so fast through music, because when my family and I first got here, everybody used to say, "Oh, you speaking so fast. Slow down." I'm like, I'm speaking English, but I guess it's fast. It's like, yeah, it's faster. So I had to dive into listening to more music and trying to gather some speech American, to kind of make sure that people around me can understand me as well. That's how I get my first love of music.
Okay.
Through my mother. And even today, she still sings. She still sings in the house. When she's cooking, she's singing. We will have devotion prayers at night, and we have, devotion in the morning, before we step out. So it's part of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So it's deep to your roots. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. So you took that inspiration, and you are also a dancer, correct? Outside of music, right?
Yes.
That is awesome. And so you took that and you ran with it. So now, is that how you got your passion for the music you do now? You do R&B, soul, world music. You were you won a spot award for world music this year.
Yeah. That's how I get my start in the different genres of music. Mm-hmm. And actually, as a songwriter, it's the thing. Genre coding is just to separate, different music. We all understand, but if you actually create the music instrumentally, it's the same. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's just you taking different elements from different part of the world and adding it to give it a different flavor, a different texture.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So even the song like you said you like, I'm gonna use that song, Pepper Them. Mm-hmm. If I can take Pepper Them and take out the Afrobeat sound, the traditional African music instrument, and then if I implement some, like say, a string guitar, it kind of give it a different flavor of Western style. The only thing that is more differently to it is the language, the accent that is being used. So that's how it gets me more into the world music, and then R&B, and then pop, and then all the other genres. That's how I navigate my way through how to write and sing certain section within the song to make it sound certain genre.
That is really cool. So you took that Western influence from the Afrobeat, and was that your original plan when you became a musician, was to kind of blend your music, or?
It wasn't a plan.
No.
It was a feeling.
Okay.
It was a feeling, because sometimes when you plan something, you I don't want to say you're selling yourself for to success, but at the same time you are tying yourself down to not experience what could come in that way and be great. You know, because I can say, oh, I'm gonna go in the studio, I'm gonna create an R&B record. Because I already plan to create an R&B record, I'm blocking all the creativity from entering that space. Because I tell myself I'm gonna create an R&B record. Excuse me. Now if I go in the studio and I say, hey, producer, give me any beat you got. Now the producer play me house beat. The feeling I have for the house beat, I should write to it because that's the feeling.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if I go in the studio and say, hey, producer, hit me some R&B, he's going to give me R&B because I request for R&B. That's me blocking another creativity from entering that space. So the music blending of genres, it all happens feeling and the message I want to share. Because in Liberia, where I was born, West Africa, dancing is a huge thing, part of the culture as well. Like I said, it has the message. Because dancing can also use as a message to signal, message to the town, to the people in around the area. So dancing and music is one of the few things. So if I go in the studio and I say, hey, producer, play me R&B, if I start dancing to it, that feeling, I'm going to write the lyrics to it.
I got you.
Yeah.
So that really goes back down to the roots then there. And I love that. You go off your feeling, and it's obviously giving you great success. Right now, you're working on new music as well. So you got a new EP in the works, right?
Yes.
All right. Let's talk about that, man. Tell me, what are you most excited about with it?
Woo! Oh man, now I'm nervous. I'm excited because it's from my previous EP. If whoever, anyone I've listened to my previous EP, if you're not, I encourage you to listen to the previous EP titled "I Am Angel Dweh" to the one that is coming now. There is so much growth.
Okay.
There is so much maturity. There is so much personal details that I literally had to tell myself, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to sing about this. And I'm going to make sure that my fans and audience can be on the same playing field where I'm at in this moment. It did, it took 2 years. This EP, 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
Because I'm like, okay, I have my cousin, Hill's baby. I know she does not love to be put on the spotlight. She's like, I would rather be behind the scene, but she's amazing. Music runs in their family. And with her being one of the main person behind the scene. The reason I said this project take 2 years because I have had writing block for the first time.
It's tough.
And it's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary because when I wrote the first song, I had the inspiration for the project. When I wrote the first song, I said, okay, I'm gonna go with the inspiration. And this is why I say, sometimes you gotta let different inspiration pull in. This is why I go to say I gotta stop, even though you can plan, but don't plan too much to the point that you don't allow other things to inspire you. So when I went in, we write the first song, called my cousin. She said, oh, I like that. I said, all right, good. And then the second song, she said, all right, now go back and write the second song. And I'm like, okay, I was writing the second song. I couldn't feel anything. So I said, okay, I'm going to put that aside.
Was it because of the beat? Was it because of just the writer's block? Or was it just something you were going through? Walk me through that.
I think it was because something I was going through in that moment.
Okay.
And then it kind of allowed me to open way for the writer block because I never had a writer block before. But I was very terrified. And actually, the song that I had a writer block on happens to be one of my favorite songs on the EP. And it's gonna be the first track on the EP.
All right.
And this is why I said the lyrics, I want everybody when it comes out, analyze the lyrics. Don't get thrown off by the beat.
Okay.
Because you will kind of understand. And this is why I say it took 2 years, because the writing block, it kind of tells me, because there's a phrase I use, I'm going to use the lyrics, right? I'm like a colorful water, flashing and flowing. That's personal to me.
I love that.
And I wrote that. You can take that, wow, colorful water, flashing and flowing. It's like, I'm here, I'm in this room. If I appear in this room, I'm going to be successful in any room I go through. Colorful water, flashing and flowing. When I wrote that, I was like, I got it. I got it.
That was your. I can't believe I just wrote that
I know.
moment.
I was like, I got it, because that's a portrait. I'm like, that's just paint the whole picture for this song.
mm-hmm.
You know, and then I went on and talk about other stuff. But I feel like a lot of people gonna miss that because of the beat, the instruments that in the song.
So it must be a pretty good beat then, though.
It is.
But,
it is.
Well, I mean, it's good that you get this opportunity here to plug that out there. But I mean, that's really awesome, man. If you're that excited about it, and you've dumped 2 years of your life into working on this EP,
Oh yeah.
I can only imagine, man. This is gonna be awesome.
It's great, and I'm not rushing. And in the process, God have showed me and allowed me to understand the meaning of patience. Patient with myself, patient with my producers around the world, patient with my stylists, literally patient with everybody. Because when you're in the process of creating something great, life can just throw something at you quickly, and you can have that low self-esteem, like, okay, I guess we got to start over.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I go back to my cousin. Before I even got here, I just came from the studio, and we were recording a song, and I was in the studio. I was like, oh, it's not coming out right. And when I came, she sent me that text a few minutes ago. She's like, have faith, it's gonna come together, so those are the moments I'm like, okay, patient. I've been patient throughout the process, but even though I'm being patient, the moment I feel like, okay, we got it, something just hard hit. I'm like, oh, why? I question why, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna look back. I'm like, okay, there's a reason why. But I gotta be patient in this process. Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things about being a musician. I'm sure it's the adversity. You're gonna have those obstacles, and not to quote Bear Grylls, but improvise, adapt, overcome.
Mm-hmm.
you gotta make it happen, and I think that's part of the best part of being a musician. Honestly, is the struggle, because it teaches you as a musician, like you said. Between your last EP and this EP, there's a lot of growth, a lot of maturity. And I'm sure you have already had the forethought of, wow, if I've already had this much growth between those EPs, how's it going to be for the next EP?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's all about enjoying the ride, man, and having faith. And I think it's going to be awesome, dude. I'm really excited about this for you.
Thank you.
Of course. And it seems like also, like I said, you're doing great things coming up soon. You had mentioned before we went on the air that you are, let me read this correctly, nominated for the R&B and Soul at the Josie Music Award in Nashville coming up.
Yes. That was so surprised. I was shocked, honestly.
That's a big deal.
It is. It is very a big deal. Sometimes, I don't know who quote this, but someone probably well-known quote this. It's like, you got to keep working, because you don't know who's watching.
Yeah.
And throughout my life, musically, in the music career, I've seen my peers doing so many things, right? Because people who you graduate, college with high school, you see them, you look at their life, you're like, oh, they have 2 kids already. Did they? And I'm like, and I'm here chasing this dream, but then I realized I always lean on that quote. Keep going, because you don't know who's watching. And then the night when I left the CPMAs, knowing that I won the Spot Award, 2 weeks after that, I got a tag on Twitter from Josie Music Award nomination list, Twitter and Facebook, and my name was on the R&B nomination list. I'm like, this is surprising.
Wow.
Because they tagged me. I'm like, oh, and I saw R&B. I'm like, wow, this is good. It's a good thing, because I don't know who'd be watching from everywhere. So that tells me that no matter what, I got to keep grounding.
Yep.
I got to tell myself, like, there are people who listen to my music, who needs my music. Even though there might be a moment where I might feel low, but at the same time, I got to share that with people, because they have the same experience I have. So this Josie Music Award was definitely a surprise, and then I realized that they go through a channel, so there was a lot of people in the R&B category, right?
Mm-hmm.
But because I was tagging the first one, so I was looking. I'm like, okay, this is dope. I'm nominated. And I went out do all my research. I'm like, okay, where is Josie Music? I'm like, Nashville. Da da da. So as we narrow down, then the final 3, it's me and 2 other. I know.
Oh my gosh, you're in like the finals for it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, the final 3, and I'm there. I'm like, this is God. So right away, I gave a few more months. I'm still there, and they put it on a website, the nomination. I was like, okay, I'm in. So I'm gonna go to Nashville. I'm gonna cross my fingers. I'm gonna pray. I bring that home to PA. I mean, even if the goal is to bring it home, but being nominated, it's still a win for me because I'm independent artist. It tells me that organizations out there are listening to my music.
Yes.
Just being nominated along with artists that are, well known. Because I think right now I'm going against a male artist who he has a Grammy. I know, it's shocking. I was shocked too.
But that's got to be such an awesome feeling for you, though, to know that you're going up against someone.
Yeah, it's very shocking, but it's nervous because I call my brother in college. I'm like, this guy's a Grammy. He's like,
I'm up against this.
I'm like, we are 3, and he's a Grammy winner. And I'm like, and my sibling, this is why I love my sibling. I love my family, because even when I'm nervous and I'm shaking, I'm like, yo, I got it, but there's chance, and my sibling will be like, it's all right. Just go in there, walk the red carpet. If you win, that's great. If you don't win, you got to appreciate it because you're nominated. Being nominated in those categories with these people is a sign. And I'm looking forward to the Josie Music Award on Sunday the 27th.
Dude, I hope you crush it, man. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will, man. Don't worry about the competition,
Thank you.
You just got to go out there and be yourself.
Thank you.
Of course, dude. I just want you to see you keep rocking, man. This has just been awesome. And I mean, and of course, if people have been watching the show, this isn't the first time we've spoke. We've had you on the show twice already. Well, at the awards.
Yes.
So it's always a pleasure seeing you.
Beautiful award. Y'all need to come out. Y'all need to come out and support. It's
Thank you for plugging that. Yes, please get out there and support it. Buy tickets. They're only $25.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
It's Pennsylvania Grammys. To me, it's my Grammy. My logo Grammy. It's my Grammy. To the Grammy, I take Pennsylvania CPM is very serious. It's my Grammy.
Oh, of course,
it's my Grammy. But yeah, people need to come out and support.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully when you make it to the Grammys, you don't forget about it.
Oh no! I promise you. I think a lot of my fans, who stream my music, they know more about PA than they know more about my birth country.
Really?
Yeah, it's insane because when I go to concert, right, I usually go and just watch other artists perform. I'm like, where you from? I say, I'm from PA. And then it's okay. And then when they go to look me up, they're like, oh, where's Liberia? I'm like, oh, man. You got to stick to PA. Yeah. But a lot of them, they'll say, yeah, I always say I'm from PA. I always say I'm from PA. Unless I start to talk frequently and the people be like, oh, there's an accent. Then it's the accent question,
Yeah, that happens. But it sounds like you do. We were talking earlier. You do have a love for Pennsylvania.
I do.
As do all of us.
I love the state.
Dude, it's awesome. And it's cool. Man, I feel like I say this every episode because I do, but Central Pennsylvania has something special with its music. I don't know what it is, but it is awesome. Hall of Fame aside, but that is what magnifies this, to see all the different types of music that we have here, from just your regular, your rock, your pop, your bluegrass, your country, everything, to worldwide music, Afrobeat.
Yeah.
It is so cool to see that we have this giant mixing pot of music.
It's unique.
It is, man. It really, really, really is.
And I love it. And my favorite moment is just when we have the Pennsylvania Award, where we all connect. The artist and, everybody just connect together, dressed in the fashion and stuff. I love fashion. And I see everybody dressed in fashion. I'm like, oh, that's fine. That's cool. I'm gonna come back next time. I'm gonna dress this. So
you always have the most fire outfits at the awards every year.
Thank you. I mean, I can't beat Debo though. I can't be Debo.
Debo goes above and beyond.
Yeah, he's. I'm like, all right, I got you, Debo. But I love it. It's a great, it's a great space you guys have created, and I think this Central Pennsylvania Music Award so much for creating a space for world music and Afrobeat. Because yes, I'm on the, I'm giving this platform, but I'm not using the platform just for me. I'm using the platform to give other Afrobeat artists that I know that are in Central PA, that don't have the leverage. But the reason I say that because when I was at IUP, there was an Afrobeat artist that was there, and when I went to perform at one of the student event, he said, "You." I said, "Yeah, I'm from PA." I said, "I'm from the Lancaster area," and he said, "Huh." And then when I shared on my platform, I was nominated. He said, "Wow, this award exists?" I said, "Yeah, the Central Pennsylvania Music Award exists." He's like, "Well, there's not a lot of Afrobeat artists in the area." I said, "Well, get yourself out there, because the platform is there. Just introduce yourself to the people, get them to hear your music, and everything will happen."
That's so cool. And I saw you when I was listening to your music that you have like a lot of features on your songs. That's so cool that you guys are working together to make music.
Oh, yeah.
And just help the community. And you're the Afrobeat world music section. You guys are all working together. I mean, just like the entire music community does. It's really cool, the camaraderie that we have, where nobody's trying to tear each other apart or anything.
No.
It's all love. Everyone wants to see everyone prosper,
And that's how it should be.
It is.
Because the love you give to people is the love you give back.
Yes.
If you, the music industry, if you, I'm gonna try to use the right word. If you give an attitude that is not a welcoming spirit, it's gonna be hard for people to open door for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
It's gonna be very hard.
Call it karma, call it yin and yang, whatever you want to call it. But
yeah, it's gonna be very hard, and that's why my sister can say, be humble, but don't be too humble and allow people to step on you. But be humble to the so that people can know that who you are, your character, your personality, and your heart. Speaking about the future, there are some amazing future on the EP. I think, and there's 3.
Okay.
We were trying to get 4, but we couldn't in the amount of time. And with the vision of the EP, we couldn't get the 4. But we are definitely having 3. We have 1 producer from South Africa.
Okay.
And then 2 from Liberia, my birth country.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. So you get to get, once again, back to the roots,
Yeah.
What's that process like?
Collaborating.
Yeah.
Ooh. All right, I can talk, but there's a moment where I can be really shy, super shy. Like, yes, I go to the award show. You see, yeah, I'm all present. But when we're talking to other artists, it's like, oh my God, I can't. So I go behind my computer, right? I'm typing, and then it's like, oh, gotta do a Zoom call, a writing section with an artist, and I'll tag on my cousin. I'm like, I don't want to do Zoom call. I don't want to do Zoom call, but it's good though because I have the privilege to see how they work and learn from their writing style and learn from their process. Yeah,
that is really cool. Well, Angel, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight, man. I really appreciate it. Is there anything else maybe we're missing or anything that you wanted to shout out or mention?
The EP concert.
Oh, shoot, yes.
Coming out. Merchandise. Make sure and get that from our website at www.angeldweh.com and subscribe to my YouTube channel to get visuals and stay tuned for interesting content.
All right. Cool. Well, once again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll have to talk again here soon. We'll
Most
see you at the
definitely.
awards for sure. So
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me.
of course.
My name is Angel Dweh, and I will be singing a song tonight of my upcoming EP titled Scorpio. That'll be dropping on November 15th, 2024, a day after my birthday. Ooh, now you own tonight. tonight. Now you all want tonight. Yeah, this one not for you though. Yeah, only for you. This one for you, for you. Tonight, now you all want tonight. Tonight, now you all want tonight. I would go anywhere, keep on searching for anything that you lost and hope to find. I will be the man you need. For you, for you, for you. Michael, you give me your body tempting me. Everybody running your when you come with me tonight. Now you all want tonight. Tonight. Now you all want tonight. Tonight. Oh, Michael, don't start again. Tonight. Everybody touching it. Tonight. Oh, now you all want tonight. All of you. Tonight, tonight. Now you all want tonight. I would go round the world searching for what you lost. I would hustle, double hustle to get what you need tonight. Now you all want tonight. Tonight. Now you all want tonight. Tonight. Now you all want tonight. Oh, all of you. Tonight, tonight. Now you all want tonight. Tonight, tonight. Now you all want tonight. Tonight.
What a wonderful evening hanging out with Jeff and Angel. Guys, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And thank you guys for tuning in. That does it for this week. We'll see you next time.